All right, guys, how you doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. We made it to the weekend, and boy, have we got a lot to talk about in the Sebastian Rogers case. So that's what we're going to do today. And thanks for tuning in with old sweet tea with Don B. So hey, if you drink tea, grab you a thing of tea, pull up a chair, let's talk. So. Appreciate everybody. Thanks to all new subscribers. Appreciate everything. I want to say thank you to Margaret for the PayPal donation. I appreciate that. And for all you new subscribers, I've had a few of you ask. A few of you are asking if I'm an ex-cop. I'm not an ex-cop. I wouldn't know a 10-4 from a 10-61. We'll just put it that way. What we're going to talk about in this is some strategy on the Proudfoots, if they end up getting arrested, and some other stuff. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So the police are basically saying that it's not a criminal investigation, right? But for some reason, they've called for the help of the Secret Service, TBI, FBI, in my opinion, guys, it's a criminal investigation, okay? I really doubt Sebastian walked away from that house. That's the only way it would not be a criminal investigation, is if Sebastian ran away. So, and no, I do not think Sebastian ran away. When I was studying Katie, there's, that moment. I think a lot of people have studied that moment when Katie almost broke down. She put her hand, she was, something happened, guys. Something happened because Chris is like really, really calm throughout this whole ordeal. Katie about really broke down on one interview. I mean, Katie's having something's there with Katie. There's something about Katie, like she knows something's really bothering Katie, and it's not just Sebastian being gone. Her reaction on an interview, I don't know if it was Chronicles with Olivia. They've done, everybody's done so many interviews in this case, but in one of them, Katie just about broke down, and that sticks with me to this day. And just the way she acted makes me think that she knows that something tragic has happened. I'll just be honest, I think she knows that something tragic has happened. And on top of that, Seth, Sebastian's biological dad, someone done a YouTube video or something like that and said Seth, in quotes, said, his mom is responsible for this. So you even have Sebastian's biological dad blaming Katie for Sebastian's disappearance. And again, guys, I do not think Sebastian ran away. And that's the only way I could think of that it would not be criminal. Okay. Now, let me see if there's any other thing I want to get into before I get into their strategy. Oh, yeah. Katie come out and said that she thinks someone took Sebastian, right? Well, if that's the case, Katie could have at least made it look like Sebastian was taken. Or, even if they wanted to go down the route that Sebastian may have ran away, she could have made it look like that. I mean, she could have left one of the doors unlocked. She could have left one of them cracked. Because you just don't vanish from the house with all the doors and windows closed and locked. You know what I mean? Y'all follow me on that? I mean, you just don't do it. I mean, and the reason why I think police have something or will have something, I think they've got a little bit of something and they're just not wanting to tip their hat right yet. This is not some rural area out in the sticks, okay, guys? It's an upscale subdivision, and I'm sure, I wouldn't be 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure one of those houses caught some kind of activity that night. Not just what we've seen, but some more stuff. I just wonder how good the quality of any video that comes out. I just wonder how good that quality will be. That's what I'm wondering. I'm sure there's going to show activity in and around Sebastian's house that night. I just wonder how good the quality of the video is going to be. Because with it being an upscale subdivision, I mean, I've already looked on Google Maps and I done found like a dozen houses that look like they've got Ring doorbell cams right there beside the door. But again, it's just, if they did capture something, how good is the quality of that video or pictures? How good's the quality going to be? You know what I mean? So that's one thing you've got to look at there. So, and then, let me address this. A lot of people on my last video were commenting and said, there's no way police would tell, Katie and Chris not to talk, right? Well, I understand that. I know they're not going to tell them not to talk. I was just saying, and I really believe that Chris, Katie, and the police at this point in time, I really do believe, I just got a gut feeling that Chris, Katie, and the police are, we'll just say they're not on the same page. I think they're butting heads. They're not seeing eye to eye. I think the police are maybe at this point asking them some questions that really bother them. So, and in doing so, I also believe maybe, Chris being the way he is, I wonder maybe if Chris got pissed off and said, hey, we're not going to talk no more unless we have an attorney present, or, we're going to go ahead and invoke our right to remain silent, and maybe it pissed, I would say it. If I was a cop and he kind of, started getting an attitude with me and I was a detective, I'd be like, yeah, we can play that game, bud, but I wouldn't be doing any more interviews, just to be a smart ass. I'd say that, just to let him know that, you've been pretty stupid by doing all these interviews. And I tell you what, ain't it funny? Because Nancy Grace used to be a prosecutor, right? If I'm not mistaken. And a lot of stuff has kind of happened after they done that interview with Nancy Grace. Don't you think? So I wonder if police maybe watched that Nancy Grace interview and maybe had some questions for the Proudfoots, and maybe they didn't want to answer them questions, and maybe they got into a little tiff with the police, and maybe there were some things said, and the police are like, "Hey, telling you, I wouldn't do any more interviews if I was you, dumbass." I wouldn't. I doubt the police called them dumbasses, but they probably. I wouldn't put it past the police to sarcastically say I wouldn't do any more interviews if I was you. That's what I was getting at. But no, I don't think police would actually say, "Hey, no more interviews," or whatever. And the other thing too is, if police did ask them not to do any more interviews, maybe it was because of the sensitive nature involving Sebastian. Seth was coming out saying that Sebastian was, let's see, I don't want to use the M word. We'll just say his childhood was violated. You know what I mean? It was these interviews and the mudslinging was getting pretty bad. And I would say if police, I would say that would be probably one of the reasons why police didn't want them doing any more interviews, is because the mudslinging was getting pretty bad. And as far as Sebastian goes, there were things being said that maybe CPS and everybody didn't want that sensitive stuff out there. You know what I mean? So that may be one of the other reasons why they were like, "Hey guys, if it's going to get this bad, don't be doing no more interviews." It's one thing to call each other a liar, a jerk, a butthole, whatever. But when you start talking about a little boy being, yeah. So maybe that could have been one of the reasons why the police asked them to tone it down, you know what I mean, with the interviews. Now, let's get into the strategy. If, and let me put this out there, guys. This is all speculation on these videos are my opinion only, and speculation. Because none of us are law enforcement. None of us have what the police have as far as evidence, as far as interviews, as far as official statements by Chris, Katie, and Seth and other witnesses. We don't have official statements. I mean, we've got the interviews that they've done with YouTubers, but we don't have official statements that they've sat down and gave to detectives. You know what I mean? So everything I say is just my opinion and speculation only. So let me get that out there, so nobody can come at me and say, "Oh, you need to be speaking facts and this and that." I mean, I can speak facts. I can say it's factually evident that Katie is acting really suspicious and tore up, and Chris. I mean, we can factually say they're acting really suspicious since Sebastian's been gone. We can factually say that. We can factually say that them leaving town in the middle of the search for Sebastian is awful weird. We can factually say that. So there's two facts right there for you. So I guess I can get a little factual on you. Now, I want to talk about the strategy. If Chris and Katie start kind of, if it starts looking like Katie and Chris are going to take the fall for this, what's their strategy going to be? I mentioned the house. They could sell the house. And a lot of people came back at me and said, well, they just bought the house. That being said, you don't know if they paid for the house in full. You don't know if Chris's parents paid for the house. We don't even know whose name the house is in. We don't even know the assets that Chris and Katie have, right? So if it looks like Chris and Katie are about to take the fall for whatever happened to Sebastian, let's talk about that strategy here and what assets they could liquidate in order to get an attorney. Okay. So I got to looking at the house. On Zillow, it looks like the house sold for $641,000. Right now, the house would go for about $750-ish, So there's about $90,000 in equity right there. That would get you a hell of an attorney. That'd get you a heck of an attorney right there. $90,000, okay? And that's just the house, guys. That's just the house. I looked at the RV. If they decided to liquidate and sell the RV, that RV looks like it would bring in used about $29,000. Okay. So there's $29,000 more. I looked at Katie's Infinity. If she was to sell her Infinity, she could get $20,000 out of that. And I looked at his truck. I looked at Chris's truck. And if he was to liquidate that and sell it, he could get roughly about $40,000 out of that truck. So when I add all that up, I come out to about $180,000 that they could come up with to pay for an attorney. And that's not including any collectibles, jewelry, any savings that they have. And just by selling or liquidating stuff that they have, their assets, I would think that they've got more than enough to pay for an attorney. Okay, guys? And if they get an attorney, you think the prosecution is struggling now with nothing, because nobody's been charged or anything like that. I mean, you think they're struggling now. Wait till Chris and Katie used around $200,000 to pay for an attorney. Now, where I come from, $200,000, that'd be a damn good attorney. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I can see the police, the district attorney's office. Who knows? They may even have to bring in special prosecutors for this, depending on which way it goes. I mean, they're right there at Nashville. Nashville is basically the headquarters. I mean, if you want a special prosecutor, I mean, you're right there next door to a bunch of them in Nashville. So, I mean, they may have to bring in special prosecutors on whoever is responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. And again, I'm not saying Katie and Chris are responsible. I'm just saying they're suspicious. I mean, hell, even Seth has come out and publicly said that, Katie is responsible for what happened to Sebastian. He said his mom is responsible for this. It's on video. So, I mean, not only are YouTubers looking at Chris and Katie, Seth is looking at them too. Okay? And maybe a few other people, because someone said that, I was watching a video, I can't remember whose it was, but someone, you could hear them saying that they have on video, I believe, or they seen allegedly Chris Proudfoot tearing down flyers for Sebastian, taking them down. So it's more than just YouTubers looking at Chris and Katie. It's more than just Seth, the biological dad of Sebastian, looking at them. It sounds like there's a few other people that Chris and Katie ain't sitting right with either. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's got to be proven. And until the proof comes out, what do you do? What do you do? I remember a couple years ago, these parents were, taking out their kids by leaving them in a hot car and making it just seem like it was an accident. Because there for a while, none of them were getting prosecuted. But then I think police called on and they're like, hey, some of these people wanted their kids gone because they're having affairs, they're doing drugs. And then I think police started catching on and they're like, these are actually intentional, trying to make it look like an accident. Because there for a while, some of these parents weren't getting prosecuted because, the prosecutor felt sorry for them. They just assumed the parents felt bad because they just lost their child in what they thought was a tragic accident, but in all reality, they really didn't want them no more. Like, what do we do? They done lost their kid. There ain't nothing else we can do to them. They're going to have to live with this the rest of their life. And there's a few of them didn't get prosecuted. But as time went on and more kids kept dying, I think police got wise. And they're like, hey, we need, and there's one up here in Gatlinburg where they tried that. And, I think they're in prison for the rest of their life. So, is that what we're seeing here, guys? Are we about to see an epidemic where parents have gotten it figured out where if they don't want their kid no more, dad can be at work, mom can be at home, just like in the Summer Wells case, and the kid just goes missing, right? Well, they can't prove nothing. Dad was at work, mom was at home, and where's the proof we done anything? Are we about to see another epidemic of kids going missing by parents who have figured out a way, or they think they figured out a way to beat the system and get away with it? I'm beginning to wonder. So this is the second case in Tennessee, the second active case. Summer Wells has been missing now for going on 3 years. Dad was at work, mom was at home, and, apparently David Copperfield came in and made Summer Wells disappear. And to this day, law enforcement says they don't have nothing. Dad was at work, mom was at home, and again, apparently David Copperfield came in and made Sebastian disappear. And again, what are the police saying? Basically, we have nothing. Have these parents figured out a way to do it and get away with it? Have they done it? Have they figured out a way to do it? And are we, if they have, are we about to see an epidemic back when, everybody was leaving their kids in a hot car? Oh, it was an accident. Accident my ass. Are we about to see an epidemic? Because, I'm telling you right now, I've got a gut feeling this ain't the last time it's going to happen. And when these criminals, when these monsters realize, hey, the police can't touch you without any evidence, there's going to be a lot more of this stuff. There's going to be a lot more kids go missing. And these kids, what do we do to keep them safe? What can the public do to keep them safe? Right? It seems to me like the ball's in the criminal's court. They've got the upper hand. That's what it seems like to me. So anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning into this whole show. Appreciate it. I know it's a little bit longer. A lot of you asked me to do a little bit longer videos, so I'll try to do some 30-minute shows from here on out. I'm not going to do no 2-3 hour shows. I can't do that. I'm one of those, got to just break it down, get to the point, and, say my piece and get off here and let you guys say your piece. So again, drop some comments, on what you think about what I said. Am I spot on? There's a lot of stuff to be concerned about going forward. I mean, do you think, I mean, is there a chance that some people seen Dawn and Candace get away with this and they're trying to pull the same stunt? Tennessee here. Tennessee. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. You've heard my thoughts and opinions. So, and again, thanks for tuning in for you new subscribers. Thanks for tuning in to Sweet Tea with Don B. And I'll see you on next video. Y'all take care.